said, yeah, your coil's knitting properly. This coil is probably not effective. I freaked out a little bit because I was like, how long has it been ineffective? How long have I been risking pregnancy? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're good, hope you're well. So I think this video is going to be fairly quick. I've had a few people recently ask me if I don't mind sharing about contraception and my sort of contraception journey and my experience. I'm not really sure what triggered so many questions on that, but I mean, cool, you know, I'm down to talk about anything, so I'm just going to share my journey. I also had somebody ask me about contraception as a Christian. I wasn't really sure at first why the Christian add-on, so I'm not sure whether they meant, you know, my take on contraception as a Christian, because I know some Christians don't believe in contraception. If that's what you're asking, I'm not one of those Christians. I do believe in contraception. I think sex was designed by God to be enjoyed in marriage as well as for reproduction, and so until I'm ready to reproduce, I'm going to use contraception. I'm not ready for a baby. I'm just going to tell you what's available where I am in the UK under the NHS, all the options, and then I'm going to tell you what I decided with my experience on it and where I am now. So I'm going to read this from the NHS website because I don't want to share any misinformation, okay? So you have caps or diaphragms, combined pill, condom, the implant, injection, patch, female condoms, IUD, aka the coil, IUS, the hormonal coil, natural family planning, progestogen only pill, so different from the combined pill, and a vaginal ring. And then you have more permanent assay solutions, which is female sterilization, aka I think tubes tied, and male sterilization, aka vasectomy. So a lot of options there. The one I decided to go with, and I got done about 3 months before I got married, was the IUD, so the intrauterine device or coil, also known as the copper coil. So you might have heard of it, you might not. So what it is it's a small T-shaped device which has copper coils coming around the long stem that's inserted into your uterus, and what it does is it releases the copper, and I think it stops the sperm from reaching the egg and surviving, or it stops an egg from being fertilized. Yeah. So the reason I chose that one is because it's the only one, apart from the condoms, that is non-hormonal. So there is another coil that releases hormones instead of copper. This one releases copper instead of hormones. And that is the only reason why I chose this one over all the other options available. Now, I know that, you know, with all the ones that release hormones, the pill, the patch, the injection, the other coil, they do say that there can be some side effects. However, when I went to see nurses about this, every time I said, oh, I don't want hormones, they were like, oh, it's fine, it's not a big deal, blah, 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 blah. But I don't know. Me personally, I just don't want any sort of additional hormones in my body. I know that you can get a mood swing. Some people suffer from depression, weight gain. And I know, I'm not saying this as fact, because I know medical professionals sometimes say that these risks are very low or there isn't enough evidence to back this, but I personally just wanted to stay away from it. So that was my decision. What I would say about the copper coil, the procedure is quite invasive, and that is the reason why I got a lot of questions, because when they realized that I had never had sex before, they were like, oh, so you want this procedure but you've never had sex? That is quite intrusive, which I'll explain. So the process is like this. The copper coil is effective from the minute it's inserted, especially because it's copper and it releases it as soon as it's in your womb. So what I had to do is I had to book an appointment through a free sexual health clinic, so I didn't have to pay for any of this, which is great. NHS, big up you, man. And then I went for my appointment, and what they do is I believe they gave me local anesthetic, so they injected me up there so that I wouldn't feel any pain. That bit was actually fine. I know it sounds very mad, but that bit was fine. And then if any of you have had the cervical screening, it's very similar to that. So they put a device in there, they twist it so that it opens up and gives them, you know, room to go in and do what they need to do. That part is quite uncomfortable. I wouldn't say it's painful in my experience, although I do know people who found it very painful. They open it up so it stretches, and then essentially they pierce your they pierce their way through to insert the coil into your uterus. Now that part where the coil is going inside your uterus is painful, and the pain resembles a period pain, basically. Which is weird because they're like, you're about to feel a cramp and you're like, oh, a cramp, okay, weird. So that bit is painful. I think it differs from person to person. For me, it actually wasn't as bad as I expected it to be, but it was a bit uncomfortable. And then after you're done, of course, you're going to feel a bit like sore and uncomfortable. You might have a bit of blood spotting, which I did. So you just have to wear a sanitary towel. And then, yeah, they ask someone to be there with you to take you home. And yeah, then you're done, and then it's effective and it's working. So what I will say is that I had the copper coil in for just over a year, and I recently took it out. I will tell you why. I was not a fan, if I'm being honest. They do say that your periods for the first 3 to 6 months will be heavier, will be more painful, and might be a bit longer. So I was ready for that, and I was expecting it, and they did not lie. My periods were heavy. They were painful. The only thing is that after 6 months, nothing changed. So I was like, oh, is it going to be like this forever? Another thing that I didn't like is that you're not supposed to feel the coil, first of all, like during sex, during whenever, you're not supposed to feel it. However, sometimes, especially I think when I was ovulating, I'd have a pain in my right sort of abdomen, lower abdomen. And I knew that it was the coil because other people have told me that they've experienced the same thing. So even though I couldn't feel it physically, I could feel that it was there. I also felt like, and I don't know if this was the coil or not, but I felt that sex was painful more painful whilst I had the coil in. So all of these things combined, I kind of got a bit sick and tired, and I said, I'm having pain in my abdomen. Went to the GP, got them to, I wanted them to check, but before that, I actually was due for my cervical screening. When I went and got my cervical screening done, they checked it, everything was cool, but the nurse did note that my coil was not in properly. I was like, what? How long has this been going on? So she said, your coil's not in properly. You should be using contraception now another form of contraception, because this coil is probably not effective. I freaked out a little bit because I was like, how long has it been ineffective? How long have I been risking pregnancy? But once she told me that, of course, I went back to the sexual health clinic and I just asked them to take it out, because at this point I was confused. I was like, was I experiencing all these things because it wasn't in properly, or was it in properly while I was experiencing all these things and it's only recently come unwedged or whatever? I think it's also a bit dangerous that it was kind of like halfway in my uterus. That is not supposed to be the case. So I was just confused. I was a bit annoyed as well about how it had been done and if it had been done properly. So I went there, I asked them, can you take it out? They asked me if I want any other type of contraception. I said no. And that was that. So I had it in for 1.5 years. I also know somebody else who had or has the coil and is thinking of getting it taken out too because of the pain and the period pains. However, I also know people who have the coil and swear by it. 1, because it's non-hormonal. 2, because it's safe of human error, so you don't have to think about taking it, you don't have to take the pill every day at the same time, you don't have to remember to wear your whatever patch. It's safe from human error, which is one of the good things as well. So I have heard both sides of the story, and I would definitely advise you doing your own research if you are looking to get onto some sort of contraception. I also know people who take the pill and are absolutely fine with it, find it great. I know some people who've done the injection and find it great. So again, it's all down to personal research, but that was my experience with it. Now, no coil in me anymore. What am I doing? No, I'm not trying to get pregnant. Don't comment. Don't comment about me getting pregnant anytime soon. We are using condoms now. And some people, when I tell them that, they're like, oh, I'm dead. Because the idea is that, condoms slow things down, they ruin the mood, they interrupt, blah, blah, blah. But actually, it's fine. It's working for us. There are a few occasions I'm like, this flipping 5-second break that we have to go get the condom is a bit annoying, but for the most part, it's fine. And I think I just need to figure out what I want to do next. Would I ever try a hormonal contraceptive? Maybe, but I am quite scared because I'm already emotional and I'm a hormonal wreck. So I don't know if I need any additional estrogen or what is it, progesterone in my body. That is my story. Hope you found that useful, insightful, or helpful. Let me know down below if you have experience with the copper coil or with any other types of contraception, because I'm sure people are still curious and still have questions. And so if you can provide some insight into what you've been using down below, that would be very helpful. As always, do your own research, go see your GP, speak to a sexual health nurse, do all of that. Because there are pros and cons to all forms of contraception. Another thing that I might consider, although my personality tells me do not, is natural cycle, natural planning. What is it called? Anyways, the one where you like check your temperature and you use the app and it tells you when you're ovulating, and you can have sex on certain days, and you have to use protection on a small window, because technically there's only a small window in the month that you can get pregnant, but still. That, I don't know if I'm responsible enough for that one. I'm also going to leave some links down below where you can get more information from the NHS website for you in the UK. But I mean, I think the same rules apply no matter where you go if you're getting any form of contraception. I'm also going to leave a link down below if you want to ask me any questions. I know we've already shared the link for you to ask Keith and I, but if there are any questions that's specific to me, I'm going to leave an AskAdella link down below and I'll try to get around to all of your questions. So I will keep you updated if anything changes. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below like I said, and yeah, subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you next time. Bye.